We've been doing a lot of coverage of Patrick S. Tomlinson ever since we discovered this lawsuit that he had against an online forum where he tried to sue to make anonymous people out themselves on the internet. He wanted to make and force the legal system to dox people, including a man who goes by the name of Quasi, who's the owner of the ONA forums. And he lost. He spent over $100,000 in legal fees, much of which allegedly is provided by the Science Fiction Writers of America and their evil, evil group, which tries to harass and discriminate against moderate to right-wing people. And they lost. They lost. He owes money, over $25,000, to this forum owner Quasi. And Patrick Tomlinson, since this news has gotten out, since I broke the story, and since the quartering then copied my story and didn't credit me, and then since Bounding Into Comics referenced what's going on, a wonderful news website, he's lost his mind. He's been going off like crazy on Twitter, and you start to see that Patrick S. Tomlinson, for all this like quote stalking and harassing that he goes off about, he really brings it on himself by screaming at people on the internet over and over and over again. I've seen the pattern over the last few days. The guy if anybody mentions him, he responds to everything. And so what that does on a website like Twitter is make it so that, people who find it funny, then just mention him. And it's a public forum. So that's what's going to happen on there. Patrick S. Tomlinson doesn't know how to use the internet and blames others for his woes. And it's really funny to watch, I gotta say. I love watching these SJWs completely lose their minds and get nothing for it. Hi, my name is John Delarose. I am the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction, a #1 best-selling author, award-winning comic creator. I've got a book on Indiegogo right now, which is a PG, wonderful book. There's no woke crap in it. It's just fun adventure, just like they do in manga. We are homaging manga with what we do. We're using the tropes that you love. You'll laugh at this. You'll enjoy this. You will have so much fun with our book. I gotta reiterate that. So if you like what I'm doing here, please support the channel and back our book today. This is on Indiegogo. That link will be in the description below. All right, Bounding Into Comics actually reported again on Patrick S. Tomlinson, showing after losing a free speech lawsuit in order to pay attorney's fees, he calls Tucker Carlson a white supremacist and claims he's the real victim. Of course, here he goes. They go off and put the lawsuit information on here. And then I showed this on my stream the other day, so I won't go over all the tweets. He went on a 27-tweet Twitter rant about how he's such a terrible victim. All these people are, quote, neo-Nazis, as he says. He says, it's great that he calls people like Tucker Carlson and Jordan Peterson neo-Nazis. And then keeps going off on how it's so bad that the legal system won't help him in his ability to harass people because he then gets some pushback for that. So he makes up a bunch of stuff on here. I've actually gone through some of the allegations. And what's interesting is he claims that his vehicles in his garage were vandalized, and it was at his house. This is part of the stuff. There's actually security footage from the trial that got leaked. And it shows that somebody who looks a lot like Patrick Tomlinson comes out of the house. It doesn't look like they come from the street, into the driveway, and actually starts writing messages on his motorcycle and on his car. It looks like he kind of did it himself. I can't tell completely, but it does appear as if he vandalized his own property. And when people looked at the quote messages written on there, they were written in removable marker. So his quote vandalism that was so horrific that he might have even done himself was something that was quickly done that didn't actually hurt his property or anything like that. Everything he does and everything he says is an amplified, made-up lie. I remember in 2018, Patrick S. Tomlinson actually went and made threats on Twitter against a transgender friend of mine who was out there protesting against Worldcon because Worldcon is very, I'd say, passive about the issue of pedophilia. And there's been a lot of instances of pedophilia, molestation, children being harmed at places like Worldcon over the last 100 years. There's a lot of documented instances. And people in SIFWA who are I just say leaning towards what do we call that? Minor attracted persons. Is that the politically correct way to put this at this point? And so there was a protest there. Patrick S. Tomlinson actually threatened my friend. She is a wonderful trans lady. It seems to be a transphobic thing that's going on here. So Patrick will go out there based on your political identity, as we've seen with his comments on Tucker and Jordan Peterson. If he disagrees with you, you're a Nazi, and he thinks he's justified in doing anything towards you at that point. And that's kind of where he goes with things. If you listen to his speech patterns, he calls people who are mean to him on Twitter cyber stalkers, cyber terrorists. It's absolutely crazy. And I've actually got him right now. If you want to see how unhinged he is, he actually, like, this is from 3 hours ago. Look at how many tweets he has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and just in the last hour. And a lot of them are just going at people who are talking back to him on Twitter. Didn't abandon my child, stalker. Met her many times. These are your delusions. This is very interesting. He met his child many times? I don't know. That's a weird way to state things. Okay. Whatever your weird sexual fetishes are, which we don't need to hear about them. Very odd. So he responds to everybody who goes at him, and he goes at a lot of people, and of course he upsets a lot of people right away by calling them Nazis. Here's one, saying to go disengage from Twitter. Oh my gosh. It's a very odd behavior. And Patrick seems to like the attention. He likes the self-aggrandizement. He likes playing victim all the time. And this is exactly the SJW mindset. These people try to make careers off of being perpetual victims. They try to get accolades within their organizations like Tor Books by being more of a victim than the next person. If you look at one of the bigger sci-fi authors out there, N.K. Jemisin. N.K. Jemisin uses her identity as a black woman to try to get awards, to try to get sales, to try to get book contracts. Everything she ever talks about is how oppressed she is by being black. And all of these people, all they do is just give her things because she's black. And so this is Patrick Tomlinson's, tactic, is to say, I'm being cyberstalked, you should give me a book deal. Now, whereas a lot of people like to virtue signal and buy the black ladies' books because they like to support black businesses and all that, it's really become a huge grift within our society. Being a white male who just is saying, I'm being picked on Twitter, doesn't actually garner you a good cause following, which Patrick S. Tomlinson has found, and this is why he's increasingly getting more frustrated and lashing out at people on the internet. We found that his book sales really are atrocious. Like, he sells less than me as a perpetual author at Tor Books, who has a huge corporation behind him, who has SJW support behind him, who has all these blue check marks supporting him in theory. They give their little virtuous comments on Twitter, but they never do much for you, is what it comes down to at the end of the day. These SJWs don't buy books. They don't support products. They don't actually create anything. They're all just whiners, and they all just are out for themselves at the end of the day. And that's exactly the whole problem with that sort of culture. It's a very egocentric, narcissistic, mentally ill culture. And that's exactly what Patrick Tomlinson tries to push even harder. You see, he's got 46,000 followers, but he really can't even sell 2,000 books when he's trying to sell copies of his stuff. We've actually shown his stats before on this channel in another video. Very odd what Patrick Tomlinson has going on. And, I can't say I feel sorry for him at this point. He's called me a Nazi online. He actually attacked me yesterday, along with another fellow insider industry author named Jim C. Hines. Jim C. Hines has done very weird things, writing walls of text stalking me. I've never met the guy in my life. These people are just sick in the head at the end of the day, and the industry needs to stop propping them up. The industry needs to stop saying, you know what, we want to give these people cookies because they're politically on our team. We need to stop and not encourage people's mental illness within the arts. We want the arts to be beautiful, to be good, to promote truth, justice in the American way. And the only way we're going to stop this is to make sure that people like Patrick S. Tomlinson are not incentivized for their own narcissistic victim crap. That's it. All right. Well, I'm glad the internet's reacting to this. I've seen that like a lot of people are catching on and really saying, you know, Patrick, enough is enough. There's a lot of people like this in science fiction. Patrick's just like the bottom of the barrel. There's John Scalzi, N.K. Jemisin, Jim C. Hines, Kat Rambo, Mary Robinette Kowal. They all are of the same variety, and they all need to be stopped. I know a lot of people like to singularly focus on their topic, but I gotta reiterate, the entire industry is the problem. And we'll be fighting them here. Please like and subscribe so you can follow along with the channel. We can fight these battles together, kick some ass, and I appreciate you guys for being there. All right, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about this. We'll be back soon.